This is Mac with Mac's Corner, and this will be an intermediate tactics guide focusing at the individual squad level and how at least I use them. What you're first going to notice is you're going to have equipment, and whoever is senior in command, which since I'm the only one right now, it's me, is going to get access to all the equipment. The more people, the more equipment. And I'm going to go ahead and restart that because it finished already. One sec. Alright, so as you can see, the time you have is dependent on the number of players, and the amount of equipment is dependent on the number of players. We can equip our stuff to ourselves, and if there were people under our chain of command, anything we didn't want or need, we could also pass down the chain of command. A priority for equipment starts with the most senior person who has access to all available equipment and can take their pick, and they can either just pass it all down to the next person, or the CO and the CO only can also individually assign weapons over here with different people. You'll also notice that you'll all start off in a one big deployment zone, and depending on your CO, you may or may not, hopefully you will, receive orders. So you'll see a bunch of different green arrows going across the map. When you see a blue arrow, that is your order. So wherever that blue arrow is telling you to go, you probably should go. Do you have to? Can anybody make you? No. But in theory, the CO is going to have at least a general plan going on, and the CO is determined, since CO stands for commanding officer, is determined by whoever is the most senior ranking person, and rank goes up as you play the game and get promotion points. So your squad itself does not upgrade, but your rank goes up, and which gives, I guess, community prestige, I suppose. But the big factors are the higher your rank, the higher you are on the priority list for getting weapons, and if you're the senior rank, you get to make orders. Also, you can only see what your squad can see and everybody below you in rank. So even if, like, as a corporal, if there's any privates here, you can see whoever is a private. So that'll give you an idea of maybe why you can see stuff and why you can't. So let me go ahead and get guys in position, and we'll talk about sort of essential tactic number one. Okay, so hypothetically, let's say that our order was just to move up here. And what you'll notice is we've spread out our squad. One of the things I've noticed a lot of newer players do is they'll keep their squad grouped up in a group of 4. That is a disaster waiting to happen for a variety of reasons. First, a single grenade can knock out your whole squad, which is not the one you want. One bad move, i.e., moving out in the open with all 4 of your guys into an ambush or something, and you lost your entire squads, which is not good. And also, even on the defensive, you cover more space. So this game is not only about, it's also about positioning and line of sight and controlling the battlefield. So essentially, if you look, each one of our guys, if you highlight a person, you can see their line of sight. So the line of sight is going to be, like, you see the little arc around the soldier? They can see where the white part is. You cannot see anything coming up behind you, and there's no noise detectors in the game. So if an enemy came up from back here and came up behind us, we wouldn't see him. We wouldn't know anybody was there until our troops started dying. So keep a heads up on that. But we've got in theory, there'll be other squads out here to support us. We'll have people on our left and right. And that's another thing that makes the game interesting, though, is you got to trust your CO, because we're assuming we have people hypothetically on our right and left, but we don't know that for sure. So rule number 1, keep your squad spread out even when on the defense and even when stationary. Now when it comes to movement, so let's say that we've said we got enemy in this building. Maybe they kind of see us, maybe they don't. Let's assume we're under some minor to moderate fire, but not heavy fire. You don't want to move your whole squad at once. Let's say there was a bad guy in this window right here shooting. Well, what we're going to want to do, what we're going to want to do is take our guys and have them all fire at the guy, assuming there's just one, and lay down what's called suppressive fire. Now they've got our Thompson machine gun, which is best for close quarters combat, and since these longer rifles these rifles are better at long range, we'll go ahead and start moving this guy up. Now, it's called a bounding overwatch in the real army, and we'll call it that here too. So while these guys are suppressing the dude over here that's hypothetically in the window, we can run up. And you want to run up cover by cover. So hit in some cover, fire, and run into some cover and fire. And if we had more cover, you might even start moving some other guys up. So, okay, so we're still shooting. Let's move this guy up and kind of... So the idea is we're going to assault that building. So we're going to pretend there's bad guys in the building, and we're going to assault the building. Now, some of these moves can be dangerous. If that were a sniper in the window especially, these moves like that could be really dangerous. So let's say we want to get closer. We want to be really careful with it. So we say hit the Z button. So you hit the Z as in Zeta button, and you'll go down in the prone. It is substantially harder to hit you in the prone than it is in standing up. So even though you move slower, you're substantially safer. So now we've got our guy with the Thompson machine gun. He's now behind cover. Hit Z again. It'll stand him up. And you can start, once again, laying down suppressive fire with the Thompson machine gun. Now, are we trying to kill or be suppressive? So you'll notice these little bullet icons. There's the 1, 2, and 4. That's your rate of fire. So a low rate of fire has the highest accuracy with the lowest rate of fire. The 2 bullets is in the middle, and the 4 bullets is a high rate of fire, low accuracy. But since we're trying to suppress, we want to not so much worry about hitting him as just keeping his head down kind of stuff. So we will hit the X button. The X button moves it to a high rate of fire. If we wanted to go down to a lower rate of fire, we'd hit the C button. So C, C. That'll be down to the low rate, higher accuracy. And then if we want to go back up, X, X. So C and X are going to be your friends there. So we'll go ahead. We'll have this guy low crawl up. We'll pretend he's under fire. So moving, Sergeant. Once he gets here, we'll move him and we'll start, we'll put him in maybe lower or higher accuracy because we're more concerned about accuracy. So, and then we'll get him, hit Z to get him back up, and then once again, X for higher accuracy, C for lower accuracy. And we'll have him start shooting with higher accuracy in the window. Now, unfortunately, the one thing I hope they kind of fix in the game, or I don't say fix is the wrong word. One thing I hope they change in the future is the weapons are not that accurate even at this range. And what is really accurate and important is grenades. So we'll get to that in a second. Let's go ahead. You can pretend low crawl, high crawl, whatever, but just for you got to be able to think about what you want to do. But for expediting purposes, we'll just go ahead and move these guys up. And this guy we'd probably want more over here so we can have influence of what's going on around the corner. But then we'd want these guys focusing fire on the window and anybody who might pop out this door or something. So, essential tactic number, 3. So 1 was how to position on the defense, 2 was how to execute movement, and 3 will be on how to use grenades, at least basic grenade stuff. There's some people who know some pretty advanced ways to do it. I'll give you at least the basic grenade basics as I understand them. So first, if you want to throw a grenade, you hold down the Alt button and it'll give you the grenade thing. If it's red, you obviously can't throw it. Now, one of the interesting things is if you go all the way here, it still won't let you throw the grenade if it's red. So you got to pull the cursor back inside the grenade. So as you can see, we can't throw inside the window, but we can throw in front of the window. So we'll try. So you do this, hit the right mouse button, and whoop, there goes the grenade. They got a couple seconds to get out of there before the grenade goes off. Here's the thing. The grenade went off in front of the enemy's cover. If the enemy was in the prone position, so he saw the grenade coming and he put his guy in the prone position, the grenade wouldn't have much effect on him. However, if the enemy did not go in the prone position and he was still shooting out the window when the grenade went off, he would be stunned. The importance about being stunned is when they're stunned, they don't do anything. They just sit there. So one of the big tactics is to go ahead and stun somebody with the grenade, then move forward. Now, hypothetically, there could be, you want to be careful just running in here, though, because hypothetically, there could be a dude over here shooting, and you walk in like this, and then you're dead. But for our sakes, let's say we know or we have confidence there's only the one guy in here. So while he's stunned, you'd run in, and you'd even throw another grenade to keep him from getting up. Real life, would this kill the dude? Yes. In real life, right there, the guy would be flat out dead. But in this game, it's a little different. So let's just say, but it will definitely stun him and stun him for a long time. So you run up. The closer you get, the higher percentage chance to get. So how close you want to get is up to you. But if you sit right next to him while he's stunned, he can't do anything, and then you can just shoot at him. Thompson machine gun is great for this kind of stuff because it fires the fastest, so keep it on fast fire. Get right next to the dude and light him up, and he's dead. So that is Grenade Technique Alpha. Grenade Technique Beta is, let's say hypothetically, the guy's in the window, and we stunned him. Another thing you could do is, because if you look, I argue there's too many grenades per squad. But right now, this is how many grenades you get, which is a ton, unless you've got a machine gunner or sniper who get fewer grenades. So let's say we have him stunned. You can run up, hit Z, and then guess what you can do? Now we can throw it in the window, and he's still stunned. Throw it in the window again. Boom! Now he's really stunned for a while. And if we don't want to risk going in the door, guess what we can keep doing? You can keep throwing grenades. And it takes a few, but after a while he'll be dead even with the grenades. And okay, well that's a lot of grenades. Yes it is, but one, I equipped this guy with a lot of grenades. Look, I equipped him with extra grenades in the beginning. And two, let's say you run out of grenades. Alright, well, run back. And run back. And that's when you go next. And this is exactly why you don't want to pile up a bunch of guys. Because let's say we were doing this and there were two guys in the window, and then like they had like a dude in the prone or something. Well, then when you throw the grenade out, you know, same thing. Let's pretend there were three guys all right there. Boom, all stunned. And I can either keep throwing grenades until they're all dead, and you know what they can do about it? Absolutely nothing. Because when you're stunned, you're utterly helpless. And when you're ready, trust me, I learned this lesson the hard way. You know, put it on rapid fire, and you can literally go boink, 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 and take out three guys with one dude. In my opinion, I think grenades are a little bit too important to the game, but there are a lot of old schoolers who play who insist it's the way to play. So, you know, I don't know. Hopefully the community can come to some sort of consensus and balance. I don't think grenades should necessarily be nerfed in the sense of, well, maybe a little bit, but I don't think, I mean, they need to be useful. I just think they either need to decrease the number of grenades you have and or increase weapon accuracy. Because one thing you'll notice, and I've seen it happen, is like a dude will run at you, and keep in mind, he's in the open, two guys firing at him, and they'll miss, and then he'll throw a grenade, and next thing you know, he's got another grenade, and I've seen one guy literally throw two grenades and come out and kill both guys after running in the open, which is a little much for me, but as of right now, that's the mechanics of the game, and it's still a fun game, so we got to play with what we're given. Let's see if we got it. Let me think about anything else I think is really important, and we'll go, and I'll come back. Okay, yeah, so just remember. Now, two things I've tried a couple times, and since I'm just using this as a one-player training, it's not giving me any sniper rifles or machine guns. So one of the most important things you can know, which I did not know until late last night while I was playing, if you have snipers and if you just click on things in the battlefield, they just shoot normal, just like a regular rifle. Only I think at a slower rate of fire, though don't quote me on that. If you want to actually snipe, you have to hit the M button. And M is in Mike. Once you hit the M button, you can only see a very little narrow path, line of sight for that individual soldier. Now, if your other soldiers are alive, you can still see where everybody is. But if, like, let's say you only have the sniper left, you'll only see that little tiny narrow thing. So what you do is you select to fire at an enemy on the battlefield, then hit the M as in Mike, and it will drastically increase your to-hit percentage when the enemy is not in cover. Behind cover is very, 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 very difficult to hit people, even in sniper mode. But outside of cover, even in the prone position, snipers are highly effective, whereas the other units are not quite as effective with guns, even shooting in the prone position. So that's the advantage of the sniper, and kind of the disadvantages, of course, in the sniper mode, you can't see as well, and it's a very low rate of fire. So, and machine guns, which we also don't get to play with. Let's say this guy had a machine gun. Machine guns aren't as accurate, and as crazy as it is, you know, in real life, a machine gun will mow down 4 dudes running at you pretty quick. In terms of killing things, it's not really much more effective than regular old rifles, and possibly even less, because I think its accuracy is down a little less. But what it does do is it's really good at suppression. So whatever the machine gun's firing at, that soldier, you'll see those little white lines popping up on top of their head. That means that they're in a state of panic or whatever, or they're suppressed. Basically, they're suppressed, which makes them substantially less combat effective. I've noticed, though I can't quote this, but it seems to me that if they're suppressed and in a panic state, that takes them a lot longer to like reload and shoot and do all sorts of crazy stuff. So you utilize my tactic, this is my strategy, which yours may be different. I like to have a machine gunner, a rifleman, a Thompson, and a sniper. I use my machine gunner for suppression, my sniper to get kills on things that start moving. Use these two guys to throw grenades. I'll use my rifleman out on the field, and I use my Thompson moving into buildings just because of the high rate of fire. Oh, and another grenade tactic. So I wish I'd remember this. Let's say we don't know if there's anybody here. We're running up, and we know we want to go in this building. We don't know what's there. A lot of people will do what's called blind throw grenades. So, throw their grenade. Boom. So if anybody's hiding, we got it. And then they'll come in, throw another grenade. Basically, you lead your charge with grenades, so people are, waiting to kill you. Whoop, I thought he was, well, am I out? Oh, I'm out of grenades this way. Okay, so that guy ran out of grenades. I would have thrown a grenade there too, but we were kind of playing around with it earlier. So blind grenade throwing is another big strategy. And you'll see a lot of back and forth when people are fighting over a corner. Everybody's throwing grenades around the corner. So just keep in mind, if you're going around the corner, you probably want to start with grenades. And also be careful, because if they know you're coming, they might throw a grenade. And for better or for worse, especially when it's like one-on-one combat, the guy who wins is the guy who gets the other one first with a grenade 9 times out of 10. Now, if you got support and people who can kind of protect the stun guy, it's a little different. But grenades, as I said, play a very, very, very important role in this game. Let me think about any few other tips that would be good. So 1 second. So one basic tip, which I probably should have talked about in the beginning, I think it's kind of intuitive, but just not. If you see the shield, that's how you know you're behind cover. By the way, the shield means behind cover, and the importance of this game is cover is all identical. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're hiding behind. All cover's the same. Trees, if you try and hide behind them, though, just keep in mind they do not. You can't really fire at anything. Because even though it looks like there's a good line of sight, you can't fire through the tree. So you can kind of see, but you can't shoot, which can be problematic. And keep in mind, I don't see if there are any hay stacks. These hay stacks, like these bricks of hay, for lack of a better word, those are effective cover. Hay piles, which I don't see any, which is just a pile of hay, does not provide cover. It will provide concealment, but not cover. So that's another thing to keep in mind. I think I've hit all the big points. So just to reiterate, follow your orders is a good idea, but nobody can make you. Also keep in mind that you've got to adapt to the situation on the ground. The commander is not going to be following you around the battlefield looking at exactly what you're doing. He's going to give you general guidelines of where he wants you to go. You need to be the one who's intelligent and thoughtful about how you deploy and get there and react to the situation as it develops. So if the commander's telling you to get here, but you've got people shooting at this open line, don't just, the commander told me to get here, let's charge, and then lose your squad. You got to adapt to the situation as well. Number 2, once you're in a position, or once you've found if you're on the defensive position or holding some terrain, always make sure you keep your guys spread out and behind cover. When you're moving, use something called bounding overwatch, which is moving 1 or 2 guys at a time while the other ones provide cover. This is for 2 things. 1, the 2 firing can provide suppressive fire, and 2, if you do waltz into a trap on accident, you lose 1 or 2 guys instead opposed to your entire squad. 3, after you've gotten into position and you're ready to engage the enemy on the offense, You remember to use your grenades. Grenades in front of cover will still stun enemy units that are not in the prone position behind cover. Once they're stunned, that's when you can move up and toss more grenades in behind cover, or move in and shoot with your weapon at close range for an easy kill. Defensively, which I didn't talk about before, keep in mind you can throw grenades defensively too. So you see some dude running up like this trying to get ready to throw a grenade, you want to make sure on the defense you get your grenade off first. So battlefield awareness becomes key, especially in this game where, once again, 9 times out of 10, the guy who gets his grenade, all things being even, the guy who gets his grenade off first is going to be the one who's going to win. Sniper rifles, once again, hit M as in Mike to zoom in your scopes. To increase your rate of fire, hit X. To decrease, hit C. And make sure you're... Oh, and one last thing too. Yeah, machine guns. Machine guns are very good at suppressing the enemy. Haven't figured out yet how good they are at actually killing them, but definitely good at suppressing. Not as good as they would be in real life at killing things, though. I'll tell you that much. And the last point I'd like to make is just keep in mind your squad can only be so spread out. So if you look, it's not going to let me move this guy over here because it spreads the squad out too much. So you can't just, your guys have got to be within a certain radius of each other, but it's a pretty decent sized radius though. So it's not like, you're not confined too strict. I've spread them out pretty good before. So once again, these are just intermediate tactics for new players who are learning how to play. Next time, after I've gotten substantially more experience with this, probably doing more advanced tactics, which will discuss how to operate alongside your fellow squad mates. So keep in mind, it involves communication is key. So as a new player, it can be a little bit difficult, and I'm still learning too. So I'm not ready yet to move on to doing a guide on advanced tactics. But when I am, I will do it and post it. Hope you enjoyed this little video. Without further ado, Mac out.